Today is October 16th, 2025. I'm in San Francisco, California, and here we are at the Golden Gate Bridge. So at the base of the bridge is a historic fort point with remnants of the abandoned battery Boutel gun emplacement. And here from the fort, we're overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge from a distance. So it's probably been 30 years since I visited the Golden Gate Bridge before. So I saw it from the other side actually. This bridge, there was no fog, so you can see it very easily. See down into the Pacific Ocean there. And then panning back over to the bridge here with the cars going over. Waves coming in down there. There's the bridge, and we'll be crossing that next. Do the walk across, I think it's 1.7 miles. And there's where we're parked. So walking down here was a lot easier getting up, so coming down was a little different because the bar was really narrow and you had to turn around to climb down. There's some info on the bridge in the area around it before we go for the walk across. Pictures of it being built and the general area around it. And we are actually here, and there's Alcatraz, Fort Baker, Fort Mason. Here's the beginning of the Golden Gate Bridge. They actually go underneath it to cross. Roundhouse Cafe, and then there's the Golden Gate Bridge and the Welcome Center. Here's some information about the bridge. So here are some of the statistics. 39 million vehicles cross per year. It costs $35 million to build. 887,000 tons, and the total length is 8,981 feet with approaches. The main span is 4,200 feet. There's 128 roadway lights, and the total width is 90 feet. So now it's time to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. Starting the walk right now. Bicyclists coming through. Roundhouse Cafe. Just sit up there for the view. Here's the start of the Golden Gate Bridge. And here's where we'll be walking across. Beginning our walk across the Golden Gate Bridge here. It's about a mile and a half, I believe, across one way. Here's what the view was like in the picture-in-picture there. Information about the bridge. And then right when you start, you get this amazing view of the bridge that we'll be crossing here. So walking across the Golden Gate Bridge here, it's about 62, 63 degrees. But you know, the wind gets kind of cool coming up here. And that's where we're going. There's Alcatraz out there. See Alcatraz well. The cars are right here. But they have a pretty good divider between. And there's San Francisco. Here's zoomed in on San Francisco. It's kind of hard to see with the sun there, but get an idea of it. There's Alcatraz again. And there's the other side where we have to make it to. And there's the first tower. So they do have dedicated bike lanes and walking lanes. Some of the smaller cables. There's the cables there. Even the cables that support the main cables are actually really huge as well. Connecting it across and then down to the deck. And looking at the tower again. They have these little areas on the side of the bridge that jet out a little bit, so that way you can see down and around. There's Alcatraz close up, and the San Francisco skyline. Coming up on the first tower here. There's Tower 1. Looking upward from the base of the first tower here, you can see how massive these are. Continuing on the walk. Cables in there. I think it's like 3 feet wide, all the cables intertwined together. Look at that old light there. I believe this is the halfway point now. 0.87 Bridge now. See San Francisco behind me, Alcatraz. It's actually a boat there cruising through. And we're coming up on the end here. Coming near the end of the bridge. That's where it goes inside and is anchored down. Here's the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge again. Very hilly. There's looking back on the bridge. So this is the end of crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. We're at Alexander Avenue and Vista Point. Here's looking back on the bridge, what we crossed. There it is zoomed in a little bit more so you can see it better. Definitely worth it if you're out here to actually walk across the bridge. So just finished walking across the Golden Gate Bridge. 1.8 miles, 47 minutes, and that was stopping to take pictures. Now we're at the Marin headlands. So there's a different view of the bridge from up on that overlook. Kirby Cove Scenic Overlook. This looks like the entrance here. You need to be inside this taking a picture. All caved in. There's another scenic overlook. And there's a Golden Gate Bridge. Still walking up to the view here. Got the ship coming under the bridge. There's a ship going underneath. So the padlock's on the fence. It's actually even weighing down the fence. And then there's another shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. Here's some old ruins here. Over at the top and right by the Golden Gate Bridge. So now as we're leaving the visitor center, we're going to head up to Sonoma County and do some wine tasting.